Hi, Dan Lau here, the owner and founder of LylePublishing.com. And I'd like to briefly tell you how I might help you with the difficult, big problem of successful outreach by best meeting the legitimate spiritual needs of people. You know, often individuals and religious groups will attempt to convert people to their cause. Indeed, doing outreach may even be a core conviction and a perceived duty for sincere religious people. However, in today's modern day world, the results of such efforts are often disappointing. Instead of a steady stream of enthusiastic converts, often what results from a lot of concern and a lot of effort at outreach may be little or nothing. Now here at LylePublishing.com, I have developed some powerful tools to help you be more successful at outreach. These are not the typical church growth type materials that you can find and purchase at a number of other websites. Rather, they are enabling methodologies that strike to the heart of why one's prior attempts at outreach have not been very successful, and how to radically change the emphasis for the better. You see, often the attitude of individuals or church leaders is this: we're perfect, and we are very kindly inviting you to come see how perfect we are and be part of our perfection. Rather than, what are your legitimate spiritual needs? Please consider allowing us to help you meet your legitimate spiritual needs. You see, these are two completely different approaches. And if you were a seeker who was looking for the truth, which would you rather encounter? First of all, well, here's what we've got, take it or leave it. Or second, how can we help you in your spiritual growth? The first approach takes no effort at all. It's very easy, because all you do is just keep on doing what you're doing and getting the same results. The second approach requires individual attention and discovering the specific needs of people, and then finding good ways to address those particular needs. But it may prove far more effective, though it is more demanding and difficult. However, many groups will say, but we are already addressing the legitimate spiritual needs of people. We don't have to ask them anything, because we already know what they need, which is, after all, what we already have in place. Where's the problem? All right, let's be clear. There's just you and me here, right? We can be honest with each other. If you are already best addressing the legitimate spiritual needs of people, then why are you not more successful in your outreach efforts? And there is a reply that I've heard many times, either direct or implied, from pulpits and Bible class lecturers. to that question. And that answer is based on the premise of beating people up rather than building them up. Because it says that the people are not implementing limited, suboptimal, and even bad methods that are being mindlessly pushed by church leaderships, largely from tradition and ritual. And the reason that it's implied and suggested directly that people aren't doing that is not because they look at it and say, this is not very good. It's because they're what? They're bad people. Right, they're bad people. And so either you as an individual who are not cooperating 100%, or you as the membership of this particular religious group, or the people out there in the surrounding community, they're just bad people who don't really love God, despite being offered perfection, that somehow they can't see it because they're bad people. Or the real answer for unsuccessful outreach might be one of three things, three other things. Consider this. Number one, the methods that you are using for outreach are poor or are downright bad. Number one. Number two, another possible answer. You're not best meeting the legitimate spiritual needs of people, either your own people or the people outside your group. Or number three, you don't have in place the support structures that are necessary for successful outreach. Methods, meeting legitimate spiritual needs, support structures. So, if you are willing to consider the possibility that your unsuccessful outreach efforts in the past are not because people inside or outside of your group are just bad, but that your methods for meeting the legitimate spiritual needs of people could be better, then you might want to consider whether my enabling methodologies might be acceptable and useful to your effort. And I have 4 ebooks to briefly mention that might be helpful to you. Number 1, in my book, Creative Theology, I describe in detail the number 1 most powerful approach for attracting and keeping enthusiastic participants for your group. Indeed, the method that pleases the Creator of the universe the most. Second, in my book, In Search of Quality, Principles and Mechanisms, I give step-by-step details as to how to implement and institutionalize the support structures throughout the congregation that are needed and necessary for successful outreach. Number 3, in my book, The Real Jesus, I show how Jesus used those support structures, those principles, and specific methods to be wildly successful in drawing huge crowds to hear him and become his dedicated, enthusiastic followers. And fourth, and finally, in my book, The Jesus Lectures 2, The Heart's Permeability, I suggest how that Jesus might encourage his modern-day followers to implement the very same specific outreach methods that he used and demonstrated how to do them back in the first century. And for those of other faiths, these are the very same effective methods that will work with outreach for any spiritual tradition. So, if you have some interest in what I'm telling you, then I invite you to look at some other free short videos that I've made in which I take you quickly through the contents of each of the books I've mentioned here. And you can see what's in them. And links to those short videos are right on the top of each of the pictures of my book covers that are on my home webpage at lylepublishing.com. And then, if you're interested in pursuing the details, my books are available for purchase at a mere $10 each to pop up right into your computer for your immediate use. Now, should you need or want direct consultation from me, then for a reasonable negotiated fee, I may be available to work with you by continuing email, video conferencing, or in person. Also, for free, you're welcome to send me a query type email describing your situation, and as soon as I'm able, I'll get back to you with helpful feedback. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email me either now or in the future directly at danlyle@lylepublishing.com. I look forward to hearing from you if you wish, and I thank you for viewing my outreach by best meeting the real spiritual needs of people, Creative Theology video.